Most people are a complete waste of time. That sentence sounds harsh, doesn't it? It feels brutal. But if you're being honest, gut-level honest, it also feels true. Not because people are worthless. Not because we should devalue others. But because we have been taught, over and over again, to pour our most precious resources, our time, our energy, our attention, into the wrong people. Into people who do not pour back. Into people who drain us, distract us, derail us. Let's call it what it is, a kind of emotional bankruptcy. We hand over the most sacred parts of ourselves to people who were never worthy of it. We do it out of guilt. Out of habit. Out of loneliness. Out of fear that if we stop giving, we'll stop being loved. But a love that's conditional on your depletion is not love. That's exploitation wrapped in familiarity. So here's the reality. The truth you've probably known deep down but have been afraid to say out loud: most people are not meant to be in your life. Not for the long haul. Not in a meaningful way. Not when you're trying to build something real. They are distractions disguised as friends. They are leeches posing as lovers. They are noise when you're looking for clarity. And no matter how sweet they seem, how familiar, how easy, it doesn't mean they're right for you. Because easy doesn't mean aligned. And familiar doesn't mean safe. Some people are lessons. Some people are mirrors. Some people are wake-up calls. But very few are soul-aligned. Very few are going where you're going. And when you start to elevate, really elevate, don't be surprised when the people you thought were forever starting to look temporary. This isn't about being cold. This is about being clear. There is a profound difference between being open-hearted and being wide open. When you're wide open, anyone can walk in. Anyone can take it. Anyone can waste your time. But when you're open-hearted with discernment, that's where power lives. That's when you stop bleeding energy. That's when you stop performing emotional CPR on relationships that were flatlined years ago. And here's the thing, you already know who's wasting your time. You know who makes you feel heavy after every interaction. You know who only shows up when they need something. You know who never claps when you win. You know who you've outgrown, but you keep holding on because the idea of starting over feels scarier than staying stuck. But comfort is not the same as connection. Let me say that again, comfort is not the same as connection. We confuse proximity with closeness. We confuse longevity with loyalty. We confuse shared history with a shared future. But just because someone was in your life for 10 years doesn't mean they've earned the right to stay for another 10 minutes. You are under no obligation to make yourself smaller so other people can stay comfortable. You are under no obligation to invite people to your table who would never feed you if the roles were reversed. You are under no obligation to maintain access to people who do not respect your energy. It's not selfish to protect your peace. It's sacred. And here's what happens when you stop giving your time away like it's cheap: your life changes. Drastically. The quality of your days improves. You stop waking up anxious because you're no longer holding emotional space for 5 people who would never do the same for you. You start saying no faster. You stop over-explaining. You stop going to the party you didn't want to go to just because you didn't want to disappoint someone who never thinks twice about disappointing you. You stop asking permission to put yourself first. You begin to notice the difference between love and obligation. You begin to feel a magnetic pull toward your purpose. Because guess what? Purpose thrives in peace, not in chaos. And a lot of you are chasing your purpose with the wrong people in the car. They were never meant to be part of your vision. They were only meant to be part of your story. And sometimes, we delay our destiny because we're dragging people who were meant to be lessons into roles that require soulmates. Some of the people closest to you are the biggest blockages to your breakthrough. And I know this hurts. I know it feels lonely. I know the realization that most people are a waste of time feels like a knife to the heart if you're someone who loves deeply. If you're someone who believes in potential. If you're someone who keeps hoping people will change. But at some point, you have to stop being in love with someone's potential and fall in love with their reality. Who they are right now is what matters. Not who they could be. Not who they used to be. Not who they become when they're scared of losing you. Who are they when you're not giving? When you're not fixing? When you're not rescuing? That's who they really are. And you deserve more. Not in an entitled way, but in a grounded, self-honoring, I finally see myself clearly, kind of way. You deserve reciprocity. You deserve people who energize you. You deserve friends who speak your name in rooms full of opportunity. You deserve a love that doesn't require you to prove yourself constantly. You deserve to be seen, not just used. So take inventory. Quietly. Honestly. Look at your circle. Look at your relationships. Ask yourself, who brings me closer to the life I'm building? Who drains me? Who challenges me to grow? Who celebrates me without competition? If the answers make you uncomfortable, good. Growth lives in discomfort. Clarity lives in discomfort. And when you finally begin to cut ties with what no longer serves you, a wild, beautiful thing happens, space opens up. The right people begin to appear. Not because they suddenly entered your world, but because you finally made room for them. When you stop feeding empty connections, your life becomes fertile ground for real ones. And real ones don't drain you. They don't doubt you. They don't disappear when it's inconvenient. Real ones pour back. Real ones rise with you. Real ones reflect the light you've been giving everyone else. But first, you have to choose you. Choosing yourself doesn't mean isolation. It means alignment. It means waking up and deciding that your time is a sacred currency, and you're done spending it on things that don't multiply your peace. It means knowing your worth isn't up for negotiation. It means trusting that you don't have to keep carrying the dead weight of connections that keep you stuck in cycles of anxiety, guilt, and resentment. It means finally understanding that some people are just not supposed to be part of your forever. And that's not a failure. That's freedom. So let them go. The friends who aren't friends. The ex who only texts when they're bored. The family members who weaponize guilt. The colleague who competes instead of collaborates. The people who make you question your light. Let them go. And in the quiet that follows, you'll meet yourself again. Not the version of you who people drained and discarded. But the real you. The clear, confident, radiant, powerful you. You'll reclaim your time, your focus, your peace. And the more you protect those things, the more unstoppable you become. Because here's what no one tells you, you don't have to fix people to be worthy of love. You don't have to be a martyr to be seen as strong. You don't have to keep overgiving to earn your place. The right people already know your value. They don't require you to sacrifice your joy to prove your worth. They match your energy. They amplify your vision. They respect your boundaries. They don't just want to be in your life, they deserve to be. But you can't meet them while you're busy trying to resuscitate relationships that have expired. So choose wisely. Time is the one thing you never get back. Don't waste it on people who never see your worth until it's too late. Don't waste it on apologies you didn't owe. Don't waste it waiting for someone to realize what they had after they've already left. Your future is too big for that. Your peace is too precious. And your soul. It's been asking you to let go for a while now. So here's your permission slip. You are allowed to walk away from anyone who makes you feel like too much and not enough at the same time. You are allowed to say, I deserve more, and mean it with your whole chest. You are allowed to be alone while you heal instead of surrounded while you shrink. You are allowed to protect your time like it's your most valuable asset because it is. And you are allowed to realize, without guilt, that most people are a complete waste of time. But you are not. You are a force. A light. A vision unfolding. And anyone who cannot see that, was never meant to. And if you're still holding on, ask yourself this: why? Why are you choosing people who constantly choose themselves at your expense? Why are you loyal to people who are only loyal to your pain? Why are you showing up for those who don't even notice when you go quiet? The answer usually has nothing to do with them and everything to do with the story you've been telling yourself. Maybe you've believed that if you stop giving, they'll leave. Maybe you've convinced yourself that the only way to be loved is to be needed. Maybe you've tied your identity to being the fixer, the nurturer, the ride or die. And walking away would mean losing that role. But listen, you are more than what you do for people. You are more than who you've been to them. And your worth is not defined by how much of yourself you sacrifice to keep others comfortable. People will take as much as you allow. It's not their job to manage your boundaries. It's yours. So set them. Hard. Unapologetically. Because the truth is, most people don't change. They just get better at pretending. Better at saying the right things to keep access to you. Better at making you second-guess your intuition. But the ones who are real, the ones who deserve a front-row seat in your life, they don't need to be managed. You don't need to remind them how to treat you. You don't need to shrink to keep them from feeling insecure. And you know what else? The moment you cut ties with time wasters, your energy skyrockets. The fog lifts. The noise fades. And suddenly, you have space. Space to think. Space to breathe. Space to remember who you were before you got tangled in the emotional clutter of other people's chaos. You realize how much lighter life feels without the weight of constantly wondering, are they mad at me? Did I do something wrong? Should I reach out again? Why do I feel so drained after seeing them? That's not love. That's a trauma bond. That's a pattern, not a partnership. That's an addiction to familiarity, not connection. And it's time to break that cycle. It's time to admit that you can love someone and still walk away. You can care deeply and still choose distance. You can want the best for someone and still decide that you are not the one to carry them there. You are not the rehab center for people who refuse to heal. You are not the parent to grown adults who refuse to take accountability. You are not the emotional landfill where people dump their pain and never pick it up again. You are allowed to close the door. And when you do, when you finally reclaim your time from those who've misused it, everything begins to shift. Your confidence returns. Your clarity sharpens. Your standards rise. You stop tolerating half-effort. You stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. You stop begging to be chosen by people who never even saw your worth. And that's when the magic begins. That's when your real tribe shows up. The ones who feel like peace, not pressure. The ones who challenge you with love, not judgment. The ones who aren't intimidated by your light, but inspired by it. But you don't get there by waiting. You get there by releasing. And here's the scariest part for some of you, the ones you need to release aren't toxic. They're not cruel. They're not obvious villains. They're just lukewarm. Comfortable. Present, but not invested. Friendly, but not nourishing. They're the kinds of people you keep around out of obligation, out of routine, out of fear of being alone. But being around people who make you feel lonely is worse than actually being alone. Because at least when you're alone, you can hear yourself. At least when you're alone, you can begin to heal. At least when you're alone, you're not wasting your time trying to earn crumbs of connection. And I get it. Letting go is hard. There will be grief. There will be quiet. There will be moments when you doubt whether you made the right choice. But give it time. Give yourself space. Because what's waiting for you on the other side of letting go is everything you've been praying for. Peace. Purpose. Alignment. Love that doesn't feel like war. Friendships that don't feel like one-sided transactions. A life that feels like your own. You're not here to be everything for everyone. You're not here to be the backup plan, the safety net, the emotional ATM. You are here to live. To thrive. To rise. And that requires pruning. That requires choosing yourself so unapologetically that anyone who's not aligned falls away naturally. Let them. Let them leave. Let them gossip. Let them misunderstand. Let them move on. Because their absence is not the tragedy you thought it would be. It's the beginning of your liberation. You don't owe anyone access to your energy just because you once shared a chapter. And you don't need permission to move forward. So, from now on, ask yourself this question often: is this person a multiplier or a thief? Do they add to your energy, or steal from it? Do they invest in your growth, or ignore your potential? Do they show up for you, or only show up when it benefits them? Do they celebrate your wins, or compete with you? If the answer is anything but empowering, you already know what to do. This is your life. Not a community project. Not a charity mission. Not a waiting room for people to figure out how to treat you. This is your one, sacred, wild, beautiful life. Protect it like it matters, because it does. The people you allow in will shape the energy of your future. Your dreams deserve better than dead weight. Your goals deserve better than a constant distraction. Your heart deserves better than being a dumping ground for other people's problems. And your time. It deserves to be honored. By you first. The truth is, and you already feel this in your soul, you've outgrown a lot of people. They were good for who you were. But not for who you're becoming. And trying to drag them with you will only keep you stuck. This is your turning point. This is your moment of clarity. This is your energetic reset. Choose people who choose you back. Not when it's convenient. Not when they're lonely. Not when they need you. But consistently, intentionally, soulfully. And remember, the right people don't waste your time. They honor it. Because they see you clearly. Because they know your time is not cheap. Because they respect your values before it becomes popular to do so. And that's the energy we're keeping from now on. Because most people are a complete waste of time. But the ones who aren't, they're worth everything. And they're coming right after you make space.